Wale's grip tightened on his tongs as he watched them approach, laughter and ease between them that seemed more than friendly. He remembered the photos Shola had shown him of his wife, always speaking of her with affection. Now, seeing her in the flesh, the situation took on a stark and personal reality. Wale's heart raced. He was about to serve suya to a woman who was, to him, almost family, and she was unaware of who he was. As Shola's wife ordered suya, chatting animatedly with her companion, Wale struggled to keep his composure. The professional in him wanted to remain detached, to serve the suya and let them leave as any other customers. However, the loyal friend he had become to Shola over the months in the corporate office stirred a conflict within him. Making a quick decision, Wale discreetly pulled out his phone and captured a few photos and a short video of the pair, ensuring their faces were clear. His hands shook slightly. He knew the gravity of what he was doing, gathering potential evidence of something that could devastate his friend and boss. As they took their suya and left, Wale stood frozen for a moment, the phone heavy in his hand. The joy and laughter from the stand seemed distant as he pondered his next steps. Should he show Shola the images, potentially ruining his marriage? Or should he stay silent, preserving his boss's happiness but betraying his trust? Each option weighed heavily on him as he closed down his stand for the night, the smoke from the grill mingling with the cool night air, mirroring the haze of confusion and moral dilemma clouding his mind. The following morning, Wale arrived at Shola's corporate office with a sense of dread. He had wrestled with his conscience all night, the images on his phone burning a hole in his pocket. After much internal debate, he concluded that honesty was the cornerstone of his relationship with Shola, who had always emphasized integrity in all aspects of their business dealings. Wale requested a private meeting, and Shola, noting the seriousness in his demeanor, led him into his office, closing the door behind them. Wale's hands trembled slightly as he handed over his phone to Shola, the images ready to shatter the calm of the office. Shola's face darkened as he scrolled through the photos and video, his initial shock giving way to a pained expression. He looked up at Wale, his eyes searching for some kind of explanation or perhaps reassurance. Despite the turmoil, Shola's response was measured. He set the phone down gently on his desk, pinching the bridge of his nose as he processed the betrayal. After a long, heavy silence, he looked up at Wale, his voice hoarse but composed. "Thank you, Wale. I know this must have been difficult for you, but I appreciate you bringing this to me. It's better to face the truth, no matter how painful it is." Wale nodded, feeling a complex mix of relief and sorrow. He had feared Shola's anger or disappointment in him for overstepping personal boundaries, but Shola's acknowledgement of his actions as necessary was a balm to his worries. Shola continued, "I'll need to handle this delicately. It's a personal matter, but you did the right thing by not keeping this from me. Thank you for your loyalty and honesty." As Wale left Shola's office, he felt the weight of the morning slightly lifted, knowing he had preserved the integrity of their relationship. However, the sadness in Shola's eyes was a stark reminder of the personal costs involved in upholding one's principles. Wale returned to his duties, his thoughts heavy with the implications of what had transpired, yet confident that he had acted in the best interest of a friend. In the quiet of his home that evening, the atmosphere was tense and somber. Shola had spent the day in turmoil, the images Wale showed him replaying over and over in his mind. He sat in the living room, the lights dimmed, waiting for his wife to return. When she finally walked through the door, her cheerful greeting died in the air as she noticed his grave expression. Shola asked her to sit, his voice calm but firm, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions raging inside him. He presented the evidence Wale had provided, watching closely for her reaction. The room filled with a heavy silence as she looked at the images, her initial shock giving way to resignation. She confessed that the affair had been going on for nearly 2 years. The admission cut deeper than Shola had anticipated, the betrayal from someone he had loved and trusted, unraveling the very fabric of their marriage. The conversation that followed was fraught with anger, confusion, and heartbreak. Shola listened as his wife explained her feelings of loneliness and disconnect that had led her down this path. Despite her reasons, the breach of trust was too severe for Shola to overlook. With a heavy heart, he made the difficult decision to end their marriage. He asked her to leave, needing space to process the profound hurt and to plan his next steps. As she packed her belongings, the finality of the situation settled over the household. The home they had built together, once filled with love and laughter, now echoed with the quiet sounds of closing doors and footsteps. Shola sat back down, alone in the dim light of the living room, the weight of his wife's departure leaving a palpable void. The night stretched on, and Shola grappled with the pain and disillusionment of his wife's infidelity. Though devastated, he recognized the need to rebuild his life and regain his sense of self. The honesty and bravery Wale had shown in revealing the painful truth acted as a reminder of the values he wished to uphold, no matter how difficult the circumstances. Several days after the turmoil, Shola called Wale into his office once again. This time, the atmosphere was vastly different from any of their previous encounters. The office, usually a place of strict professional interactions, felt warmer, the barriers of employer and employee seemingly diminished. Shola greeted Wale with a weary smile, the events of the past week having taken a visible toll on him. As Wale sat down, Shola began by expressing his gratitude. "Wale, I can't thank you enough for your honesty," he said sincerely. "It was a difficult truth, but necessary. I apologize if putting you in such a position has caused you any distress." Shola's tone was heartfelt, acknowledging the personal complexities involved. He then shifted the conversation to a more uplifting topic. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," Shola continued, his expression turning from one of fatigue to one of resolve. "About you, your work here, and at the suya stand. I've realized something important through all this." He paused, ensuring he had Wale's full attention. "It's crucial that we all do what makes us happy, what gives our life meaning. You've managed both your roles with integrity and passion." Shola leaned forward, his decision clear. "I'd like to offer you a promotion to a senior accountant position," he announced. The role would come with greater responsibilities and a significant increase in authority within the company. "I want this position to be a reflection of your hard work and dedication, both here and in maintaining your roots with your suya stand." Wale was momentarily stunned, the offer exceeding his expectations. The recognition of his dual passions felt like a vindication of his hard work and dedication to maintaining his identity in both worlds. Shola continued, "And Wale, don't give up the suya stand if it brings you joy. It's clear how much it means to you and to those who visit it. Let's consider it a part of community engagement from our company." The meeting ended with a handshake, but it was far more than a simple gesture of agreement.